Il patrocinio.
Yes.
This is the officially opening of the Boom Festival, lads.
Hey, hey, hey,
This is the opening. The opening of the Boom Festival. Yo!
Really fascinates me here at Boom that you have a context which it provides this meeting point for subcultures interested in trance that go back for decades, including the rainbow people and the more contemporary techno hippies and techno punks and all these kind of various shards of kind of cultural shards of trance communities that we see emerging around the world, and here they all are at Boom. under one dance floor, which is probably the biggest dance floor on the planet. It's like a city in its own right. It's pretty amazing. It's a space in which new knowledge can be explored and experimented with and exchanged in the context of a dance festival, where at the other end of the spectrum you have people just going hard in a savage religion in front of the speaker stacks, losing themselves and at the same time finding themselves. So you have this diversity of cultural experimentation here that I think is fascinating.
Have fun, huh?
Thank you. No.
You're from? You are from? Austria.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a nice week.
Das ganze Küstenheim abgeklappert.
Hello, finally in man. Now build up a tent, sleep a bit, shower finally. It's been 3 days, I think. Yeah. So.
Enjoy.
Yeah, thanks.
Music's so important, but it's the music that animates the bodies. That's really what people are drawn back to time and again. To a dance floor like this, to a festival like this, they're drawn back to that idea where they're physically experiencing a dissolution of their physical boundaries and also the mentality that we have in the outside world. So it's a very experimental place in terms of interacting with others and forming communities and forming bonds and friendships that last forever.
I heard about this festival from my friends, and actually I'm a traveler, so when I was in Middle East, some friends told me about this festival, and yeah, so that's why I came here.
I was traveling around Spain, and my brother called me and said that if I won't come here, very stupid. So I took all my things, and for a week I got here.
evolution of the boom since its first one in the mid-90s. I mean, that was a party, a small event of a close-knit group of friends in Portugal. You know, Diogo had been spending time in Goa. He wanted to create the scene here in Portugal. And, you know, after 10 years, you look at what we've got here. It's a whole different animal. I mean, the spirit is still the same from the beginning. That's the beautiful thing. It's just kind of got bigger. The family's got wider, you know, and now people are coming from all over the world. So it's an amazing place. It's an amazing opportunity for people to come and live temporarily in a zone where you can express yourself freely, be free of all the shackles of most of modern society, you know, and that means a lot to people. The dance floor is the meeting place. It's the arena in which everybody comes together and opens themselves up to potentially meaningful, possibly shamanic experiences. You have to let go, you have to be vulnerable, you have to open up. Sometimes people take drugs, sometimes they don't, it doesn't matter. The music is the vehicle through which we can experience higher states of consciousness, basically. And they have another stage here, the Groovy Beach, which is offering other people who might not be wanting to listen to the banging music all week something different, and that's great. Because I'm sure even the hardcore psytrancers want to listen to something else every now and then. There's nothing wrong with that. We don't only have to listen to psytrance, and it's not only psytrance that can take us to these places. However, it seems that a style of music has developed. Its origins come from tribalism thousands of years ago through the 1960s psychedelic movement to where we are here today, and there's a direct heritage of that.
I like psytrance, I like techno. This is a psytrance festival, so it really works for me because we don't have such a good scene in Britain for the psytrance.
5 years ago, nobody would imagine to have, for example, minimal techno on a trance party, and the way around. Sven Feth plays trance music on techno parties sometimes, and it all works now, and that's good. That's where it's kind of all coming from. In the beginning, you know, there was not all these genres or something. The DJs had just electronic music, all kinds of, and they mixed it together, and this made the new thing, the new sound for us at least, I don't know. And now it goes back that direction, so that feels very nice, because everybody is able to do anything and everybody is allowed to do anything nowadays, kind of.
Well, I'm a die-hard psytrance fan, and I appreciate that they try to bring other kinds of music together here, because it's actually about the sound. It's not about the kind of music in essence, I think, in my opinion. So, no, I'm a die-hard fan, so I'm dancing all night long, raving. Yeah.
多分意識するしないにかかわらずすごく自然に僕の音楽の中に入ってきてることだと思う。
When they play or anything like concert or live, something like that, they go to another country, like which is not Japan, like go to Europe or make something like that. So they have to have a culture from here, but it's not like they doing on purpose. It's automatically coming to them, and then just playing with that.
例えば今回こういう場所に来れてそのブームフェスで過ごすこの時間っていうのがやっぱり次の悟空の音を生み出していくっていうところには必ずこう何かを影響してくると思うし、そういうふうになんか悟空が旅をしていろんな国の旅をしていっていろんな人に出会っていってっていうこう時間とか経験っていうのが全部音の中にこう組み込まれていって次の音が生まれてくるんだと思う。
Like today, we coming to the Boom Festival to play, right? And then they're gonna get the new something feeling about Boom Festival that became one of their music. So when they trip, when they do tour, they get a lot of that kind of things to their music. Then makes a new song, or they makes their song.
The concept of Star Sounds Orchestra? Well, first of all, it's an organic sound, and it has electronic as well as acoustics, like from the gongs and the vocals and the drums. And so it's like a collage of different elements. But I think the main point to refer to is that we use special tunings in our tracks, and we use the tunings of the planets of the solar system. So the concert is like a journey through the planets of the solar system, and it's like setting up resonances with the macrocosmic environment, and that's the concept from Star Sounds Orchestra. Well, the Boom is the best possible event to perform such a concert, and as I said, we are very happy that I can even say all through the years to be a guest on the Boom and have the possibility to do what we are doing. And it couldn't be, let's say, the outside is, it's a cyber village, and it's a future. It's a great community that gathered together beautiful people from all over. It's good.
Yeah, Ninja Boots for I wanna activate people to dancing, That's why, I'm bringing Ninja Boots to activate dance floor.
O que acho muito interessante é juntarem-se pessoas de tantos lados diferentes do mundo inteiro mesmo, muito da Europa, mas também há muito pessoal dos Estados Unidos, japoneses e por aí fora, e é mais essa troca de culturas e estarem todos aqui juntos a curtir o mesmo som que me impressiona. É um projeto meu, o Rocky Marciano sou eu, mas ao vivo, tanto no disco, onde eles também participam em alguns temas, mas mais ao vivo é um projeto quase de banda. Falta aqui o Rodrigo Amado, com quem também costumamos tocar, mas isto é uma espécie de projeto paralelo sem o Rodrigo, mais adaptável a este tipo de situações de cabine de DJ e pronto. A participação deles é já de 4 anos, 3 anos em palco, muita história, muitos palcos juntos, e é quase como se fossem a alma do projeto ao vivo, os músicos que me acompanham.
Eu
cada vez mais ouço mais música eletrónica, umas coisas que estão ligadas diretamente ao do universo de onde eu venho. Coisas mais urbanas, misturas de hip-hop com eletrónica, tipo Flying Lotus, tudo o que seja Ninja Tune, muita coisa do Arp também. E então aqui vou ter a oportunidade de passar músicas que noutros contextos, por exemplo em clubes e etc, não, muito dificilmente vou pôr, porque das duas uma são coisas muito calmas ou são experimentais demais. Acho que aqui, como em muitos festivais, acho que a música é mais um pretexto para outras coisas. Acho que às vezes há muita cena de a música juntar as pessoas, ou um certo estilo juntar as pessoas. Aqui obviamente que o trance acaba por ser um chamariz, né? E atrair o pessoal de um certo target, mas acho que é mais um pretexto para depois o convívio e todas as coisas que estão inerentes a ele, né?
It's a place on the edge, let's call it. The liminal village sort of sits between 2 points, and it could be past and future.
Yeah, the liminal village is a great expression of that, because the liminal village is, liminal comes from limen, which is Latin for threshold, and a threshold being a space of a very powerful space of potential, of potentiality.
Well, I think the Boom itself is a visionary event, an event that really sort of looks beyond the current paradigm and really tries to introduce new ideas. And I think the art here also introduces other worlds. Essentially, they're portals into, the visionary imagination, experienced through various visionary states, whether it be through psychoactives or meditation, or just non-ordinary states of consciousness like dreams. Well, primarily, I guess we're exposing visionary art from around the world. We have artists from 6 continents, and ranging in media from digital art to acrylic and oil-based paints. We've got some pretty high-level artists in our gallery this year.
And visionary art. What is visionary art? It's something that comes from the imagination. It's not a pretty landscape or a flower painting, and it comes from sort of experience in the world, in other worlds. I keep a clear channel. I see myself as an instrument, and I don't plan anything. None of this work is planned. How can you plan something like that or like that? It comes through you. So I let it come through me. I become an instrument, and hence I see what comes through me, and I detail it. It's like a dream state. Only I'm painting the dream state, and that's how it comes through me.
Maybe the best way to explain how I work would explain why I create the imagery I create. It's a very stream of consciousness way of bringing forth the imagery. So a lot of these paintings are not very pre-planned. I don't sketch them out, so I just sit in front of the canvas and maybe I have a general idea, but once I sit down, the painting takes on its own and a message comes through, and I'm not always sure what the message is at first, and I think my the language that comes forth comes from many cultures and many mystical traditions, so there's not really one particular. There's a strong element of the feminine in my work, and I think that's something that really needs to still rebalance on this planet. We need the feminine to be stronger in order to help make the changes. And the other thing is certainly the world of spirit and shamanism, which I'm very much involved in, and I'm very much I've been very interested and involved in doing shamanic journeying in a sacred context only, with the proper preparation, and also in a setting that is legal, like in Brazil or Peru, in the indigenous context. And so a lot of the imagery that comes forward is one of certainly unity, the experience of unity, the absolute necessity of surrender in the face of the unknown.
Keyboard down, they will play.
This is all about collective shamanism, shamanism on a vast scale. I mean, I don't think it gets bigger than this. Well, I guess the dance itself is a context that, ecstatic dance, like Dionysian dance, if you like, is something that we've desired since sort of time immemorial as human communities. The kind of context that bring us all together time and again, and we desire to be back in that place, to prolong that time, to make it happen time and again. And it is very primitive, it is very primal, it is something that lies deep in our human memory that we seek to retrieve in these moments. And so it's not so much necessarily a cultural business or a knowledge that belongs to others that we are seeking. It actually belongs to ourselves, and we find it here in places like this. But of course, indigenous cultures have been doing it since time immemorial, and there is a great deal of appropriation and cultural borrowing that goes on, and so we see the kind of in fashion and tattoos and hairstyles as kind of building of our own sense of kind of modern primitivism.
10 years ago, I published a book called Technosis. And what that was a book looking at media and the history of media technology in the modern world, so television and radio, certainly the internet, going farther back into electricity and looking at where electricity comes from, but really looking at that as we move away from a book culture, a culture that's dominated by books. But even books, once you invent the printing press, you create a technical media revolution. So I'm really interested in how media changes culture and consciousness. And what I was really drawing forth was that there's this underlying mystical and in some ways religious feeling and imagination that gets caught up with media technologies, that they always become sites of utopian imagination, of ideas of spirits, ideas of ghosts, that our whole, the way that we as modern people understand the spirit world is through media largely. So you take the guys 2,000 years ago in the desert, they're experiencing the imaginal world through trance and through the shadows of firelight on the walls and the invocations of a bard or a shaman. And once that impulse hits modern media technology, it begins to change and it goes into the media. So our devils, our ghosts are through our media. And if you look at this historically, back to the 19th century, you see all these, it's very obvious how these changes are happening. So I was kind of telling a story about the fact that our intense internet-driven global media consciousness, where we're trying to come to terms with these changes and understand what they are, has within it a profound spiritual impulse and spiritual implication. One aspect of neo-tribal culture is very pro-technology. It's a retro-futuristic culture because on the surface, it's tribal. We have tribal tattoos and Maori, and we dress like pagans, and we have different religious ideas. We practice Dionysian ritual and music and trance and healing arts and all this kind of mystical activity. But at the same time, you find within this is a very highly tuned awareness of the possibilities of technology, particularly media technology, but increasingly sustainable technologies.
Agora vamos passar pelos pontos em que as equipas vão apanhar o lixo e a juntá-los. Nós vamos recolher os sacos, substituir por sacos novos para que fique tudo ok, não se gerem moscas, não se acumule lixo e fique um ambiente mais bonito. Fila para as duas. Agora pessoal, para mais uma.
sustentabilidade de entretenimento envolve coisas simples, mas coisas fundamentais. A essência desse festival é o futuro. Se você imaginasse que estamos num limiar de um novo paradigma, de uma nova consciência de mundo, nós vamos ser sustentáveis. A nossa espécie vai aprender a viver em harmonia com esse planeta. Eu penso nisso, acredito nisso, trabalho para isso, eu vivo para isso. Porque vejo isso nas pessoas, vejo em você essa necessidade de fazer isso. Então, o futuro é isso. Se formos sustentáveis, vamos ter uma população aumentada mesmo. Isso é uma realidade. Vamos ter talvez menos espaço no momento que partilharmos melhor. Mas veja a integração que isso existe. Hoje se fala tanto em interculturalismo, não é? Ou multiculturalismo, ou transculturalismo. O nome, a palavra não é tão importante. Mas o importante é a essência que existe aqui, que é a essência de tolerância. Isso aqui é o espaço mais tolerante que eu conheço. Todos estão aqui. Todo mundo está aqui. Porque é possível criar uma cidade e com infraestrutura como essa aqui, com espaços bonitos e funcionais como essa aqui, mas que agrida menos e que até melhore o espaço onde ela ocupa. Então esse ano começamos a selecionar mais materiais naturais, materiais biológicos, materiais que não passam por um processo muito intenso de industrialização, definitivamente materiais não tóxicos e também, em alguns casos, quando não se tem nenhuma dessas opções, ainda buscamos a reciclagem de muitos materiais. Grande parte do boom, grande parte da arquitetura é uma reciclagem, é um reuso de materiais de outros espaços, de outras coisas, até da agricultura, né? Como é o caso dos fardos de palha, que é uma técnica de construção biológica que veio muito a calhar no festival. Que a nossa sociedade perdeu muito tempo treinando as pessoas a se comportarem de formas padronizadamente previsíveis. É como se isso nos desse segurança. Na verdade, isso é um fruto do medo. O medo do descontrole nos faz buscar coisas simplificadas demais. Não é? Então a nossa sociedade desenvolveu, só nos últimos 60 anos, desenvolveu o controle. Especializou-se no controle de quase tudo. É como se tivéssemos a fórmula final de viver nessa terra. E até temos, que é a de viver com a natureza. Mas partimos para o outro lado. E colocamos todos os esforços, toda a nossa sociedade hoje coloca todo o investimento ainda nesse controle. A criatividade das pessoas é praticamente infinita, não é? Quando nós vemos o que elas são capazes de criar, a beleza que elas são capazes de criar, a harmonia, o ritmo que as pessoas são capazes de criar, o que elas são capazes de fazer lá fora, se agirem em conjunto, as possibilidades são infinitas. Mas na prática, muitas pessoas vão fazer mudanças nas suas próprias vidas. Hoje, no primeiro dia do boom, eu já escuto pessoas dizendo que vão mudar a sua vida.
Isso nota-se em todo o festival, a preocupação com o ambiente. Os festivais todos deviam ser assim e devia cada vez mais haver uma preocupação com o ambiente.
An interesting project that Good Mood Productions undertook was Your Oil is Music. This project has been running for 2 years, and basically we went out to the public of Adania Nova and collected the vegetable oil, the used vegetable oil. And this oil will be used to generate power in the generators. So this is the grey water system that we're using at Boom. Basically, a grey water system is a natural biological treatment system. We use nature's way, which is using stones and plants. As the dirty water comes from the showers, Dirty as in there's a few chemicals from shampoos and things like that. It passes through the rocks, and the large particles will stick onto the rocks. And then the plants will... We just have a look over here. What we have here, the water plants, the microbes, the bacteria connect to the roots, and then the roots, the bacteria will basically attack the pathogens and clean it. So the roots actually, they work in symbiosis where the bacteria and the plant work together to get rid of all the toxins. As you can see, it slightly smells in this area because there's basically 25,000 people showering here. But as we go down the system, you'll see that the water is cleaner. So at Boom, we have more or less 25,000 people going to the toilet every day. So that's a lot of human manure. So what we're doing with the human manure is composting. Composting is really simple. You need 4 ingredients. You need carbon, nitrogen, air and water. Basically, your deposit, or poop, is nitrogen based, and we have sawdust, which is carbon based. The liquid is urine, and also air comes through the tubes. So basically you make a deposit and you throw sawdust on top of it. If you cover the human manure with sawdust, there's no smell. So this is the last cycle of the compost toilet. After 6 months to a year of sitting, basically composting in the barrels, you can add worms, and the worms will turn the rest of the if there's any refuse to turn into, they turn it into black soil. And this black soil is the same soil, it's actually humus, you find in forests. It has a really sweet smell and it has lots of nutrients.
A gente veio para montar o festival, né? Trabalhamos durante 3 meses aí, com a galera, junto com o povão, para montar esse festival maravilhoso que está acontecendo agora, né? Nós somos uma instituição que é o IPEC, né? Que é o Instituto de Permacultura, né? No Brasil, no centro-oeste do Brasil, que trabalha sobre o foco de sustentabilidade, como você pode ser sustentável em um espaço e manter sempre a produtividade e melhorar cada vez mais o solo e melhorar o planeta também.
C'est super chouette. On a le baby boom là-bas pour les enfants, donc les gens sont super sympas. Et voilà, ils s'amusent bien, les petits vont se baigner, il y a des jeux pour eux, c'est bien organisé. Et nous, même avec eux, on peut se balader, c'est assez sain en fait, tranquille. T'as vu les lumières?
La nuit, et il y a une araignée qui fait...
festival começou ontem e estamos a trabalhar muito, um bocado confusão. Temos muitos massagistas, mas temos muito mais clientes que querem ter conosco. Eu pessoalmente gosto muito de trabalhar aqui. Aqui temos muitas massagens, temos massagem terapêutica, temos a ayurvédica da Índia, temos também massagem sueca, temos também relaxante, temos pranic healing e reiki. Estas são coisas que são mais espiritual. Rebalancing é também uma mistura de massagens relaxantes e para balançar o corpo, o espírito e a mente. Também temos shiatsu. Também temos shiatsu que está feito aqui no lago. Lagoa? Lagoa, ok. E também temos massagem flutuante que está feito aqui nesta marquesa aqui, que fizemos nós aqui na Sacred Fire, feito de canas. E mais, também fazemos tarot e acho que já está. Temos acupuntura também.
Yeah, we make like the yoga course in the mornings, and it's really like relaxing. Yeah, because like when you're powerful all night and drinking and stuff, all that. And we haven't been at the healing area yet, I guess. No, but yeah, we tried some workshops. He did one too, and yeah, it's nice. I like that it's not just music, that you can discover so much more. And yeah, I'm studying medicine, and this is like pretty hard, and so I got my brain vacations here. And we were like hitchhiking down here, and it's just like no test and everything. It's just.
We have been working again on a mandala structure, which is based on the number 7. The idea of the structure is about the chakra. It's to try to bring people mandala in 2D, 3D with the help of the chakra. It means you have the 3 lower chakra, you have anahata with the center, the heart chakra, and you have the 3 upper chakra. And that could give an idea of a structure where you have three space dedicated to the lower chakra, 1 center axe with anahata, and will link to 3 space who will be dedicated to the higher chakra. And so the structure has been really organized like that. We have the group tent with the red cover, the lower chakra, then we have the orange cover with the individual practice, and then we have the welcoming cafe area with the yellow one. So that's how the 3 lower one. And then Anahata is the center puja, is the biggest place with the center tower. And that link, let's say, to the 3 upper chakra, we are the heart installation from Dave, the garden from Frank, and the gate of the sunrise, who are the 3 upper chakras.
And we want to show that healing is not necessarily one way, but it can be in many ways. It's through architecture, like the mandala is a really strong space to work in. It's color, it's music, so sound, I love the sound healing journey, and it's physical practice, all different therapy with yoga and tai chi, and keep it various. Heart therapy, mandala workshop, feng shui. We try to get from every different culture to bring it together, to show to people. Obviously it's only a taster.
first time abroad, out of Israel.
And?
It's great. I love it. Good nature, actually. It's a little bit hot, but I'm used to this weather. Nice. But the dust is stuck up my nose. Can't breathe.
I've met like some Romanians, a few Brits, Australians, actually even wide, Japanese, Singaporean, so yeah.
I love the atmosphere. It's a lot more spaced out and relaxed.
It's amazing. It's really nice being in your magic world, you know. Yeah. For now, it's the beginning where I'm trying to understand where I am, and it's really peaceful, beautiful.
We are all, that is, well, it's a polarity thing. You are an individual on the one side with your personal feelings, your mental concepts, your conditions, and on the other side you are part of a collective, and to have the day as a melting pot of being individual on the one side and then being collective part, and to experience the interaction. I think this for me is we are all